Hi, James Hines. I'm here with Robert Bronson, and he's going to engage us with what are the amazing things that's going on with Fintech world that he comes from, as well as tell us a little about his career in the sports world. And so at this point, I'd love to say, get an introduction. Robert, could you say hi? Tell us just a little about yourself.
Well, thank you, James. I'm really proud to be here today. I really appreciated everything we've heard. It's been fantastic. Thank you for including me. If I go into my background a little bit, work-wise, I've been in the mortgage banking business for longer than I care to admit. Several decades, gone through many changes, and so it's interesting to see our current version of the industry with AI. But going back, my career's been built on teamwork, and the teamwork started with a foundation in team sports. I played basketball, football, baseball through high school. Was fortunate to have been able to walk on to college basketball at UCLA. Was there to meet Coach John Wooden in the past, and played for Coach Larry Farmer. And we did things well. You developed a good foundation. You understood the fundamentals of things. You did things the right way, and you continued to work towards what the team's goals were. And that alignment is something that's rare. When you see it, there was a stretch of time where the Golden State Warriors had it, where ownership, management, players, coaches, they were all in alignment, and the goals were there, and you felt like everything was in rhythm. And then you see other teams, I don't know if you're a New York Jets fan, but in football, the New York Jets, or even more recently, Arizona Cardinals and Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know. My first college, not a pro game, was the Raiders game. It was the Jets. Yes. But those teams were picked last by coaches, or had the vacancies open last. So it's that alignment, it's matching goals, it's using the technology. And sports is using it more than anybody. They've got the money, it seems, and the highest visual thing. You'll see it in all kinds of ads.
You know, that's interesting that you say that they have the visuals and they have the audience that gives them the money, or the money gives with a lot of pressure. But let me ask you a question a little further along. How did they get up to where you are today? How did the journey go from there to where you are today?
Well, it was an interesting path. It was a path of things not chosen, and then the ones that I did choose. And I happened to be good at math, and really enjoyed helping people and looking ahead. I ended up getting my MBA from UCLA in finance and international business, and got a job at a mortgage company, and found a good fit for using all the things I had learned and the skills I had and the teamwork needed to help people achieve their dreams of home ownership and create generational wealth, quite honestly, through that.
Wow. Okay, so let me ask you a question for initial framing. How does that work with today's?
How does that work with today's audience? So let me ask you about framing. If you could tell us how you would share that with an audience of young folks or young homeowners, or even younger, about getting into your particular career path. What would you say to the younger self?
Well, the career path is different now. I mean, the entry-level jobs that were there when I started may not be there now. And so it's actually simple things like suit up and show up. Do the things you have to do, whether it's, intern somewhere. If it's something you have an interest in, find those things that use the skills you have and advance them early and often. And try the different things early. I ended up in the same job for a long time where other people were jumping jobs. And I am fortunate that it was in an industry that embraced change as well. And in that change, we went from everything paper to where it would take 3 months to transfer information.
Right.
You know, it's like, okay, and then it's like, okay, now you have to restack it because somebody else wants it this way. And it's just paper, paper, paper.
I've had restacking paper different ways with different readers. That's just crazy.
Yeah. So, but we went from, you know, desktop computer rooms to desktop computers to
Data rooms.
data to now it's, you know, my phone has more power than my first PC ever had. So it's the advice to the new people, you know, it's, you know, learn the fundamentals, pay attention, show up on time, listen and learn, do your best, and you'll put yourself in a position to succeed. And then have that discipline, dedication, and commitment in an area that makes sense, and you will put yourself in line for success.
Okay, well, let me ask a follow-on question. Other than you mentioned the athletic career I asked you about in your banking career, we also learned that you're also involved in West Coast Media Ventures. Could you share a little about that from your perspective?
Yeah, it's a little different company. That's West Coast Ventures. It's like
West Coast Ventures.
Media Ventures is one, but we're more finance, Bitcoin,
Okay.
and real world assets. So, and it's actually making financial instruments more liquid. So if you own, I don't own any expensive art, but if you own art and wanted to sell a piece of it,
Like fractionalizing art and
Yeah.
that. Okay, the whole,
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah, and just using technology to make the financing better,
Okay,
faster.
I get that. Our company, we were focused on, before we did the sports vertical, we were focused on art as an asset, as you say, real world assets. And we did some exploratory, the thing that really was crazy was the amount of insurance required to turn those assets into something that was even bankable. And that the insurance required 1-to-1. But when we explored getting some of these assets, reviewed, we were looking at projects that had millions in the collection, in which people would do a sampling. You know, they would just open up the drawer and say, oh, the other drawers are like this or similar. And we were convinced that we couldn't pass that off to an insurance company to back that particular place. So we just said, let's go to sports and deal with jerseys that you can say, hey, you can track that jersey. Was it on game? Was it on camera? Is it historical? You know, the whole tracking sports asset over film and TV assets is a crazy world.
Yeah. In the mortgage business, there's a warehouse bank, and you put a mortgage in there, and then it gets sold off, but you borrow while it's there.
And that's what we wanted to do.
So it's tracking that asset, and also being able to do it at a lower cost. You know, I was told a long time ago when I got my MBA that, wait, it went 18 months to learn to increase revenue and control expenses? That's it?
Oh.
And it's like, yeah. And so if you can learn to control your expenses, especially in our industry with rising compliance costs, you have to meet all these other rules over here. You have to report to everybody over there. And if you can put that on chain and it reports left, right, over there, all the information is in one place, it's fantastic as long as you can protect it.
Well, you know, that's what I hope to have a conversation to get younger people to understand, that these kind of opportunities are available, that these kind of opportunities are what you could pursue. And so we're excited about learning what you've shared so that a different audience can understand that, hey, that's a career path that I can pursue. It may not be in your immediate circle because your commercial or retail banks may not be providing this in ways that you could, you know, if it's not at your dinner table, but we're hoping that these kind of talks, these kind of conversations, persons like yourself, can open the door that these careers even exist.
Yeah, and thank you. You mentioned something that I had to pivot during the financial crisis. We mortgage companies ended up with a lot more new rules because there was some perception that perhaps mortgages played a role in the financial meltdown.
We all saw The Big Short.
Yeah. Well, there are other arguments about that, but in the coming out, there were new rules and regulations. So I was reading the Code of Federal Regulations, becoming a compliance expert. And you had to actually have a new person who was physically in charge of certain parts of compliance. So there were new opportunities that were presented by things that sent companies out of business. And so there's an old phrase, in chaos, there's opportunity.
And I agree. And there's also, you got to know the rules to break the rules. I like those two hand in hand.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I'll go off into too many side stories, so keep us on track.
The stories are great. So let me ask a question about the story of today. And that we're talking about sports. We're in the city that's hosting some Super Bowl activities, both opening night, which both pro teams are showcasing, in about 15 minutes down the street. And then the big game is in Santa Clara, about 5 miles away, this Sunday. What drives you about sports? What is it you love about sports now that keeps you excited?
It's actually that, I guess we had a neuroscience scientist earlier, so it's the dopamine hit from sports. I still try to play. We don't allow videos because it wouldn't meet what we think how quickly we think we are still moving. But it's before the opening tip, there's still nerves. You don't know what you're going to do, but you go out there and you can put your best effort forward, and you can work with others, and you get a team effort. And when it works well, it's a thing of beauty, and it's so much fun to watch. And I'm not a New England fan, and I'm not a Seattle Seahawks fan, but when those guys go out there and they put it all on the line and things go well, it's amazing to watch.
I agree. And it sounds like what you're describing could be used as a process of most anything. Things could be amazing to watch. It could be not just the sports world. It could be the music world where someone is performing on their instrument, he or her, in a way that's like it's phenomenal. Or saying words as an actor or a writer who writes those worlds. I think for people, particularly young people, finding out what's your thing of beauty and how you could bring that out of you.
Yeah, there was a girl that coached in CYO when my daughter was playing, and we saw them at high school graduations. She came up to me and apologized. I didn't stick with basketball. I said, "You're an amazing dancer. You have found your passion, and that's what it's about." It's taking those life lessons that were on a basketball court and applying them to the world.
I agree wholeheartedly. Is there anything else you'd love to share? Because I would just love to hear anything else you want to share about.
Well, just one last thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, the movie Air, Michael Jordan signing with Nike. In thinking about how far we've come, there's a scene where Matt Damon's driving down the highway in North Carolina with a phone, and he goes, "I'm talking to you from the car." We've come a long way.
Yes, we have. Well, we've come a long way, but in this new era, which we're talking about, where AI intersects with sports, culture, and other kinds of technologies, we looked at the fans and looked at the young people who actually create these new environments. We look for the fans to be part in the new generation to create new opportunities. So with that said, it's really been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
All right.